Oh, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to our all recovery, uh, to our family meeting. Excuse me. Welcome back to our family meeting. This is our support group. All right. And so, without further delay, my name is Craig, and so I'm gonna get right into it. We got very good information, and so this article that I'm gonna bring uh, before you right now is from the recoveryvillage.com. You can go online and retrieve this article, and let's see what uh, this article has in store for us. So, yes, so we're going to be talking about tonight, and that is, you can see it at the bottom of the screen. It says 10 tips to help family members of addicts cope. 10 tips to help family members of addicts cope, right? And so it starts off by saying addiction affects everyone, not just the person struggling with substance misuse. And so it says here are 10 tips that can help family members cope with a loved one's addiction. And so this article gives us a glance of what it entails in this article. It says millions of people struggling with substance misuse and addiction. It says you can help a family member cope with addiction by understanding the condition and going to family therapy, connect with peers, preparing family meals. Help is available for families. All right. So first part, as I stated before, 10 tips for family dealing with an addict. And so the introduction goes a little further. It said, addiction can happen to anyone, right? Addiction can happen to anyone, even in loving families. When addiction develops, family members and friends are also often directly impacted by the addiction. That's why in addition to taking steps to help get your loved ones into a treatment program, it's important for family members and friends to have a good understanding of addiction while also continuing to take care of their own health. This helps you provide the love and support the addicted person needs in order to heal. All right. So the first one we want to talk about: learn as much as possible about addiction. Education can help families escape the blame game. Rather than believing that the person's addiction stems from weakness, willfulness, and stubbornness, it might be helpful to understand how it actually stems from changes within the brain. Understanding that addiction is not a choice might help you let go of anger and resentment you may be feeling about your loved one's addiction. There are many online resources that can help families learn about addiction. Most bookstores also offer a wide selection of books about the chemistry of addiction and the science behind the addiction treatment. Right? So we live in a modern technological age, whereas you can go online via the internet. You don't have to just go to a library and search hours and hours for material. You can go right online and grab you some good information. So it says, additionally, everyday research teams are conducting in-depth studies about drugs. They're learning more about how substances interact with the cells inside the brain. And they're using that knowledge to develop new treatments that might one day either treat or prevent addictions. That's the sort of knowledge that can help boost a family's sense of hope. With each advancement, you can feel more confident that the addiction can be treated and conquered. Let's talk about the number two aspect of it. Connect with understanding peers. The article says it's not always easy to live with or support someone who has an addiction. As research points out, addiction in a close relative can serve as a stressful life situation that persists for years. And that long-term dysfunction can make it hard for families to communicate clearly. There can be a block of mistrust between every member of a family touched by addiction, right? And so it goes on to say people go to meetings like this for all sorts of reasons. But one survey found that many participants were drawn to meetings in hopes of finding help with finding a better quality of life, having fewer problems with the addicted person, lower levels of stress, improving psychological health. All right? And so the third one make mention of go-to family therapies. Spouses, siblings, and parents of people with addiction often observe many of the consequences of their loved ones' substance use. Many people have a hard time talking openly about behaviors that's harming them, so they say nothing. Family members can also become distant if they're tired of fighting with their loved one. They may blame themselves when the addiction person, or blame this addicted person for their unhappiness. All right? So don't be hard on yourself. Learn all you can. Go to family therapies. And it says family therapy session can take time and it can be tempting to skip a session, particularly for families with a number of conflicting appointments and agendas. However, this work is vital to the mental health of everyone involved, so meetings should be attended whenever possible. All right? Once again, we're talking about 10 tips to help family members of addicts cope. So the fourth one we want to talk about, and that is prepare meals and eat them as a family. In today's modern chaotic world, it's all too easy to eat separately. One partner grabs a burger on the way home, the other snacks on a salad at work, and the kids heat up ready-made foods that they can find in the freezer, right? And so a family meal allows everyone to reconnect at the end of the day that may have been stressful, lonely, and upsetting. Each meal helps build upon the work done in family therapy, and the ritual of eating together, watch this, can promote a sense of common ground and togetherness. Okay? Listen good. Listen to me. This is stuff that we need to get back to. Some of the old fashioned ways of, you know, sit down at the table, not just one person at this room and that person in the other room, or standing up eating. No, have a seat. Let's say our grace together and things of that nature. All right. Number five. Number five says manage expectations. When a person enters addiction treatment and the family embarks on the recovery journey, the sense of hope everyone feels can be exciting. Finally, the addiction issue is being addressed. Finally, things will get better. Unfortunately, it can take a long time for the behaviors and patterns associated with addiction to really change. All right, one may get rid of the addiction, but the behaviors that's another factor or another aspect that may take some time. The article make mention. The person may hold on to old habits or become frustrated with the recovery process. Sometimes that soul shift leads to disappointment. All right, and so let's talk about number six. And so number six says stay in touch with personal joy. We talk about family members staying together, working together, finding out what's going on, how can we fix it as a family, not just my way of doing things. Let's find out a better solution. A lot of times we need professional help. Number six says stay in touch with personal joy. Managing expectations is a little easier when individuals are responsible for their own bliss. That means every member of a recovering family needs to take time to do something that's relaxing and fulfilling. All right, this can include playing an instrument, taking nature photographs, volunteering with animals, playing with children, gardening, cooking, crafting. These activities, others like them, can make the participant feel happy, preserve a sense of efficacy and worth, and help boost mental health. You'd be surprised when you take time out for yourself and start doing a lot of self-care and just focus on getting better and treating yourself to some fun things in life, and because we live in a stressful environment, and so a lot of times we just need to stay in touch with personal joy. Let's go on to number 7, and this is for all my exercise people and who like to exercise but have fallen out of exercising on the regular. Let's get back to it. Get regular exercise, starting off the day with a brisk run or ending the workday with a few laps in the pool. May not be every family idea of a great time, but these exercise sessions could deliver considerable benefits. Exercise has the proven ability to reduce stress and depression. In fact, right, an American survey found that about 43% of adults use exercise to cope with stress. All right, we're talking about 10 tips to help family members of addicts cope. So we covered 7 so far. We're on the number 8, and that is adhere to a formal sleep and wake schedule. Adhere to a formal sleep and work schedule. All right, and that is some of the more dangerous addictive behaviors often occur in the middle of the night. People with addiction can meet dealers, overdose, stumble home from parties, or get into other situations that family members have to deal with. All right? It's no surprise then that some families in the recovery process struggle with sleep. Parts of their brains are ready and waiting for the next nighttime crisis to arrive. I remember, a lot of times I used to stay up at night, come home late, whatever, and it used to bother my mom, personally. I know she used to, be on edge, but when, once we come home, me and my sibling, we come home, she can get a little resolved knowing that, that we're okay, and we're safe and sound in the household. But that can be a lot of family members who are going through with their loved ones, wondering, when another crisis may occur, if they are right, how they're doing, when they're coming home and things of that nature. So we need to adhere to a formal sleep and wake schedule. Regular sleep loss can make the recovery process more difficult. For example, studies show that sleep deprivation is linked to a range of social and emotional problems, including depression, anxiety, social withdrawal, and lack of motivation. Setting a consistent, adequate sleep schedule can help you get the rest you need to function your best and cope with the challenges of having a loved one with an addiction. Let's talk about number 9. We're moving right along here because this is some good material, and I hope that when you watch this, you're getting something out of it. And so we're going over 10 tips to help family members of addicts cope. And so the 9th one, we were talking about schedule private therapy sessions. All right. While lifestyle alterations can be a big help for families in crisis, addiction can cause deep wounds that often benefit from seeking professional help. Research has found that families of addicted people experience increased levels of depression and anxiety. Caregivers can feel worn out from everything they're asked to do for their family member, and they may not have access to healthy coping skills. Siblings or children can feel forgotten or feel like they have to do better to make up for the addiction, leading to self-esteem issues. All right, we're talking about scheduled private therapy sessions. There's no judgment or blame here. A private therapy session is a safe place for stressed family members to talk openly and work through crisis. All right, and so some people are very apprehensive when you talk about therapy or going to see a therapist or psychologist or some type of professional person to get help. A lot of times we got to get rid of that stinking thinking. We got to get rid of that stereotype. We got to get out of that stigma, because a lot of times we might be missing out on something that can truly transform our lives for the better. Private sessions typically follow a skill-based format in which caregivers learn more about how to deal with destructive thoughts and habits. develop during years of addictive behavior. They might learn to mediate to handle stress, may learn how to meditate to handle stress, or they might work on assertiveness skills. They might do group work involving anger management, or they might learn how to let go of codependent behavior so they won't feel responsible for the poor choices of others. That's a lot when you begin to take on the responsibilities or absorb the energy of someone else and you neglect and forget to take care of your own number one personal self. So be mindful, schedule private therapy session where they can help us learn in so many techniques. One can be meditation to meditate to handle stress, or they may work on assertiveness skills, or may have to do group work involving anger management. We're talking about behaviors beyond the addiction. There are other aspects uh, that goes along with the addiction because a lot of time we pick up behaviors that is not of ourselves. We find ourselves doing things or incorporating things in our lifestyle where and when we're as opposed to if we was in our normal right state of mind, we would not behave in such a manner. All right. And so number 10, let's talk about number 10 before we wrap this up, and that is educate and advocate. There is an incredible amount of misinformation about addiction. To some people, addiction is a form of weakness, and they have no problem sharing their views, even in casual conversations. To others, addiction is something family members should either fix or ignore. Even when a family attempts to help their loved one, they are sometimes judged or labeled as enabling. Unfortunately, sometimes even the medical community can use language that promotes addiction stigma. Language matters. One study by the Recovery Research Institute found participants were more likely to see individuals as punishable, socially threatening, and blamable when they were labeled substance abusers instead of having a substance use disorder. Family members can often feel harsh words or careless statements, most accurately when they come from friends, co-workers, and even distant relatives they see on a regular basis. It's hard to stay positive in an environment like this, but families can be part of the change. Every time they hear a phrase like this, they can share the truth about addiction. They can share some of the knowledge they have learned from private research, support groups, and therapy sessions, and give their friends this destigmatizing words to use instead. Advocating on behalf of people struggling with addiction is brave. Let me read that again. Advocating on behalf of people struggling with addiction is brave. It's also a vital, empowering, and health affirming thing to do. Rather than staying silent and fuming, families that speak up are doing something to make things better. Those conversations could not only have a wonderful impact on the family spirits, but also positively impact their community. All right, and so that's it for this week on our family support meeting. We just went over 10 tips to help family members of addicts cope. Remember, the holiday season is coming. Be careful, be safe. If you have to get some support, reach out. Don't hold it in and learn how to address these, not only the addiction, but also the behavior factors that come with it. All right. And so my name is Craig. Until the next time, enjoy your life to the fullest.